when a handywoman, an aspiring Finnish carpenter, navigates dating, family, and society's expectations in a predominantly male trade, you have the making for an epic series of real scenarios and relatable scenes that so many can identify with. It is with gratitude that we give thanks to Gabrielle Bourne for producing the comedy series Mack Of All Trades, using humor to take on society's stereotypes when it comes to the roles and goals of women.
First and foremost, thank you so much, Gabby, for joining us today. I appreciate your time. You've got a lot going on, so thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's always fun talking to you.
Well, so here's the thing. Actress and model, actress and singer, actress and dancer, these are titles that we're used to seeing together. They go together. Here enters you, Gabrielle Bourne, actress and builder. So we're not used to seeing these two titles together. My question to start us out with is this: when and how did these two titles, these two professions, come to be your calling?
It's been a journey. So I've always, for a long time, since I was, 11, an actor. That was kind of like the thing that has driven me. And, it's what I went to college for. It's been my main thing throughout. And then somewhere along the way, I'd say maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I started getting really interested in woodworking and refinishing furniture. And it kind of started like that, and then obviously became something so much more. And it started as kind of a way to supplement my acting career. On the side, I was bartending. And then, I kind of turned into somebody who wasn't as much of a night person anymore. So, and I was just doing all these projects for fun. I thought, okay, why don't I do it for other people? So I started, refinishing furniture and building custom furniture for people. And then my husband and I bought our first house, and I refinished our kitchen, and then things kind of like spiraled, and it kind of became an obsession. And I feel so lucky to have found something that I can do that works alongside of acting, where I don't have to really sacrifice anything, that I get to do both is like just incredible. And yeah, I'm just grateful to have found it, kind of, because acting can be obviously a difficult road sometimes. It's like that constant, like I always talk about it with Try, who's, a professional athlete, where it's like, okay, you practice and then you get to play in the game. And that's the reason why you practice. Acting, until you're at that point, it's a lot of practice. It's a lot of like, class and playing and working behind the scenes, and not as much time in the beginning as like you're in the game. And so that is what kind of building gives me in a fulfilling kind of way, where it's like, okay, I get to start something and see a finished product. I'm not seeing a finished product as much so far with acting, and I get to see that with the building. So I love how they kind of fit hand in hand, and I feel very lucky to have them both.
Well, it's awesome what you do and how you do it. So let's, in the comedy series that you wrote, produced, and starred in, Mack Of All Trades, you play the role of Mack, a handywoman. So in the 6-part series, you call out society's gender-based stereotypes through a series of hilarious scenarios. My question is this: do all of these episodes mirror your own lived experiences? I mean, was this series based on real life events?
So it definitely stemmed from that. Obviously, it's not really based on my life. Mack is single, and, in the dating world, I've been in a relationship for a very, very long time. And so that kind of who she is and her storyline is different, but a lot of the scenarios that she finds herself in are definitely based off of my personal experiences, showing up at houses to, when I was building furniture. I was even doing like kind of handywoman work at a certain point where I'd go and like fix things for people. So yes, 100% those experiences are based off of my experiences.
Which makes the whole series just all the more awesome to know that, yes, this actually happened. So of all of the scenes in the series, which was your hardest to film? Part A. Part B, which scene was your favorite?
Hardest, I would say the scene in the lumber yard. There were a lot of moving parts going on there, so it was just kind of...
Well, I still get carded buying spray paint, so...
Yes, well, that's because you got my genes, and that means your face looks beautiful until you're 70, but in the meantime, your eggs not so much.
Mom, I gotta go.
I'm just saying.
I'll be sure to think long and hard about the rate at which my eggs are declining. Hi. Is he around?
He's out doing a delivery.
I'm picking up an order for Mack.
Mahogany.
Yep.
Is Mac coming around with his truck or what?
I'm Mack, and my truck's right over there.
Well, I'd be damned, like when I got sons, if I let somebody tell me who I am.
It was tricky, but also one of my favorites. And then the other hard scene was, we have a scene with the spider. And so Try, my husband, was like the spider wrangler that was his job. He needed to find a spider and keep it alive until we started shooting. And so we had to place it on the piece of wood because it comes crawling up to me. And just that whole, getting the spider to do exactly what you want and not die and not, and be in the shot. That was difficult.
You go, tiny soldier inside, come into the light and say it out loud.
Favorite scene to film would be the date scene with the actor Tim Joe. He's just such a great actor and so much fun to work with.
Yeah, tell me more.
I realize I've been a little vague about what I do for a living.
A little.
I don't know, it's kind of been a thing in past relationships. So, it's not a big deal.
It's okay, I mean...
But I am sort of like a handy woman.
Oh, okay.
We worked several years back on a show called Pitch. It was a Fox show about like a female pitcher. And so he came to do that with me. And that's kind of, that scene is where this whole idea kind of stemmed from. I just thought that concept was so funny of her telling being nervous to tell who she's dating that she's a handy woman, and then like how he takes it. So that was just so fun because we got to play back and forth. That was just like my favorite scene to shoot.
Well, and you could tell the genuine energy that was flowing through that scene. And so for people who have not seen it yet, but who will see it, the definition of what a handy woman is hilarious when he first tries to figure out, what do you mean? And I'm not going to say it because I don't want to give it away, but hilarious.
Thank you.
I love how you used humor just to address these issues. So the quality of this series, from the writing to the production, it's absolutely incredible. So why was Instagram your platform of choice to distribute this series? Was it the instant access that it provides? Please tell me that what we've seen in this series is only like a teaser, as I think we definitely need to see more of Mack. So please just tell me that, and I'll be fine with that.
Thank you. Yes, it's a teaser. So Basically, I created this series. I kind of, in the beginning, it was kind of like a pitch concept for a pilot, and we submitted to festivals. We took it to a few festivals, which was really fun. And then I kind of decided that I wanted to write a more fully fleshed out pilot to then pitch as a show that is kind of a little bit different in tone. And I had some new, more specific ideas about it, but I didn't want this whole thing to just fall to the wayside, you know, because it's so fun. And I just thought splitting it up into little 3 to 5 minute episodes would be kind of a fun, you know, that's a great, online is a great place for that, because we're consuming things a lot quicker, kind of these like shorter little snippets of thing that we can just watch in passing. So that's why I chose to put it out. And now I am moving on to work on the like kind of more fleshed out version of it that I want to turn into a TV show. So I'm working on writing it now.
Well, it is awesome. So thank you for giving me the answer that I wanted.
Thank you.
So, you know, off screen, you are a home renovating, do-it-yourself queen. What project that you've done are you most proud of?
That's a good question. In terms of building, I have a project that stands out to me the most, which is like this built-in wine rack unit that I just did a really fun kind of design. The math behind it was so hard, but then when I saw it come together, it was like my first big build of a built-in that like I felt really proud of, that I felt it looked professional and I felt great about it. Overall, the project that I'm most proud of is the renovation that I just did on our duplex, because that was my first really big project that I general contracted and did most of the building myself. And like it's been, you know, a year and a half of, you know, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and you know, that's been my dream now for a long time, was to be able to do like a full-on renovation. And I'm kind of been working through one project, one room at a time, and I'm nearing the end of it. And I'm definitely proud of that whole journey.
Well, you're proud of it. I'm impressed by it. So many can't help but be impressed by everything that you do, but specifically this renovation. What? So amazing. And I love that you do post and share online so that we can follow. And I feel like it's my second home.
Oh, thank you. I know it's hard. I went through the majority of it not sharing because I was like way in over my head for a while there. And I, you know, had a little 1-year-old and like was just very overwhelmed. So there was no time for filming or any of that. But as I like started getting to the place where I could see again, I had started taking more time to share. So it's been really fun to be able to, you know, share and get saying these nice things like you are. So nice.
Well, you know, it's when we look back at projects, you know, I growing up, I remember learning how to use tools from my mom. She taught me everything that I knew about building and home repairs and even some wiring. You know, I learned not only how to use tools, but how to care for them. I learned how to select materials for projects and the importance of cleaning up afterward, from properly measuring, which I didn't do often, you know, to creative problem solving. I learned so much from using tools. I also learned a lot about myself. My biggest learning, patience isn't one of my strongest virtues, and I need to work on that. So there was that. My question for you, Gabby, is what have you learned, not only about, you know, home improvement and these sorts of things, but also about yourself in all of this?
It's a good question. I have learned how determined and stubborn I am. I have learned so much about like the process of building a home. I've always found that stuff fascinating. Like, how do people do things? Like, it can't be that crazy complicated because people do it. So like, why can't I know how? And like, how do I learn? So I've always just been fascinated by that, like how things are made, how things work, what's behind this drywall, like how did people get this house standing so that it doesn't fall down in the wind? Like, I just wanted to know these things. And so I think what I've learned the most is like, just, I mean, from watching YouTube videos and all of that, as I go each project, learning how these things are done, how to tile, how to, you know, and then I guess what I've learned about myself on top of that is I like heard this podcast with somebody recently where she talks about how everything is figure outable. And like, so never, you know, in terms of like, we're talking about patience and all of that. I obviously struggle with patience too, whether it's with my 3-year-old or with my projects, you know, that's always something that's coming up. But like, no matter what happens, everything is figure outable. And I think I've translated that to my projects lately, like with whatever came up with the renovation. It was like, oh my gosh, this is going to cost this much. What do I do? Or, you know, oh my gosh, there's a pipe here and it needs to be here. What are we going to do? Like, no matter what comes up, these things aren't lining up. It's driving me crazy. What am I going to do? No matter what comes up, everything is figure outable. And I just thought that was so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, that's applicable obviously to life in general, you know, anything that comes up along the way, whether it's health stuff, whether it's, you know, whatever it is, like, okay, we need to figure out how to handle this. Everything is figure outable. How do we move forward? What do we do? What's the next step? The one next step. And so, yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing.
And you're so right. You're spot on when you say that. I mean, building a house, whether you're building a house or you're building a life, there's these shared lessons between the two. Do you feel it's like that with filmmaking too? Building a house, writing a film, creating a film. Are there a lot of?
Yes, totally. I mean, yes, throughout the process, there's so many things that come up where you're just like stuck and you don't know where to go next. And it's like, and sometimes you do have to just take a step back from it and like have a minute to let things come to you. You know, it's not always like, okay, I'm going to just work on this until I figure it out. Sometimes you need to see it from a different perspective, but it's totally 100% applicable to, you know, filmmaking and all that as well.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, again, me looking back, working with my mom was one of the first major projects was re-roofing a storage shed in our yard. And you mentioned like your favorite projects. What was your first major one that you attempted? Whether you succeeded or failed, what was that first one where you're like, oh?
Mm-hmm. Well, the first one that I attempted and did not complete was this apartment that I was renting just after college. I got permission from the landlord to refinish the kitchen cabinets, and I think I like did half, and then like one side of it or something. But then after that was another kitchen, refinishing the kitchen cabinets, which I did complete. That was our first house, and the kitchen was like very old from the 60s, you know, so I sanded down all the cabinets and painted them all, and that was a huge undertaking that I did on my own before we moved in, and it took a lot of time, but it was so fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get very personal now.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I'll go first. For me, my tool of choice is my Leatherman. I am a huge fan of versatility that way. So how about you, Gabby? If you had to choose only one tool to use for the rest of your life, one tool, rest of your life, what would it be?
That's such a hard question.
Isn't it?
There's so many that are necessary. I think since my favorite aspect of building DIY is woodworking, my saws, one of my saws, probably my miter saw, that's like the most, you know, useful. I mean, you really need all the saws depending on what you're doing, but I would pick my miter saw, or my nail gun. That thing is really fun and does a lot of cool stuff.
You can feel the power when you
can
use
feel
it.
Yeah.
So absolutely leading by example, whether you know it or not, you are empowering other women, daring them even to take on challenges that they may never have considered attempting otherwise. So, question now is for those who don't yet trust their hands with tools, what advice do you have for those aspiring to be handy women?
Well, like we were talking about before, one step at a time. I think the main question that I get when people see my projects and message me about it is like, oh, I have so many things that I would love to do. I just don't know where to start. And it's like, you just have to pick a place. Like, pick the project and then Google it and then figure out the very first thing that you have to do, the tiniest task that you have to do to complete the project, but just the first step. Then once you've done that, figure out the second step, then the one step after that. Like, these things are all things that people do, and it's no, obviously, I think that there is some level of skill involved. I used to think, that it was just people are not realizing that they, everyone can do it. And then some people have told me, well, Gabby, I tried this and I, I don't think it's as easy as you're making it sound. So I'm always like, I'm sorry, I made it, sound like it wasn't. But if you really focus on one thing at a time, one tiny step, then you're going to finish it, one tiny.
Yeah, and that is great advice. And again, applies to life too. Instead of taking the whole project, that can be super, super overwhelming, but to one step at a time, one step it.
Yes.
Great advice. So as we near the end of our conversation, let's go back to the beginning. I introduced you as an actress and builder. Beyond building, let's talk about acting. What's now and what's next for you that way?
So I have a movie coming out. I had a part in the movie coming out called Air about Michael Jordan's coming to Nike in the 80s, and has Sonny Vaccaro and Phil Knight played a part in it. So that was really fun to work on. That's coming out April 5th. And aside from that, I'm auditioning and working on writing this show that I will also be acting in when it's finished and ready to be made.
Awesome. That is awesome. Well, we will keep our eyes open. I'll continue to stalk you on Instagram with all the latest and greatest in your project world. One more thing before we go. Are you up for just a quick little game, like a quick fun word game?
Sure.
I love words. You know this about me. So I'm going to say a word. I'm going to give you 9 of them because it's my favorite number. I'll say a word. You say the first word that comes to mind.
Okay.
All right. Saw.
Cut.
Film.
Acting.
Home.
Safe.
Family.
Love.
When.
Now.
Let me think of another one. Try.
Husband.
Let me think of a couple more. I'm just thinking of these off the fly here. So let's say, how about stage?
Presence.
If.
Yes.
You.
Me.
Thank you. That was fun.
Loved it. Oh, that was so fun.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share your story, to share your world, the inside and outside of it. Thank you for helping all of us become a bit more aware now. Thank you so much, Gabby.
Thank you.